What's up, y'all? It's Simone, and you're tuned into Baller Talk. Today we are joined by professional dancer and singer-songwriter Miss Kendra Jae.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good, good. So you began your career as a professional dancer right after high school, and just last year released your first single, Persona.
Yes.
Did you always want to do music, and how was that transition from dancer to artist?
Okay, yeah. Music has been like a part of who I am since I was a young girl. Of course, I did start with dance, so you nailed it. I started dancing at a really, really young age, fell in love with it. Pretty much committed my life to like entertaining. Everyone knew I was gonna graduate high school and move to LA and chase the dream. And it was a really like smart decision for me. Like now I'm seeing, you know, the fruits of my labor pay off more than ever. The transition was relatively smooth and seamless because I wanted to be sure that it was not forced. I pride myself on like everything happening in divine timing. So when I moved to LA, the first 3 years was not it. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna make it. I didn't know if anyone was gonna see what I saw in myself, but I stayed the course. And, you know, I toured with B. I did Beachella with her. I touched a number of stages, you know, Tyga, Dua Lipa, Gwen Stefani, BB Rexa. I went on to choreograph for Chloe and Halle's music video, Do It. I worked with Saweetie. And then I toured with Drake, and I was like, okay, you know, the pandemic kind of slowed me down and made me like look at everything I had accomplished, and I was like, I've always wanted to do music, and now's the time.
Yeah. So many amazing accomplishments,
thank
like right
you.
out the gate.
Thank you so much.
We'll get back to the touring, but to talk about your music, like some people may have first heard you with the Saweetie collaboration, Seesaw.
Yeah.
How did you guys link up?
So Saweetie and I were like real friends. We're real friends in real life. We met in high school. We didn't go to high school together, but we met, you know, in our hometown. And we connected back in Southern California, and we just always supported each other, like at different moments in our life, in our careers. We lived together at one point, and her career really popped off when I was touring with Drake. So when I came back, I jumped in and kind of helped, you know, try to like, you know, get her with choreographers and like, cause dancing was my thing. So I was like, I want you to have the best everything, you know? So I supported her then. And then when I told her like, yo, like she knew I had been recording since I moved to LA, but I just knew it had to be like dance then music. And so she just happened to pull up one day and like hear me playing the song and was like, yo, this is a slap. Like, send me this song. I want to hear it in the car. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't expect anything from it, like, truly at all. And within weeks, she FaceTimed me and was like, surprise, I got on the song. And, of course, as a new artist, you know, with so many successful friends in the industry, it's like, you hope for something like that to happen, but I wasn't expecting it, you know. I really wanted to like build and make sure that I worked from the ground up because I watched her do it. I watched Victoria Monet do it. I have so many people that are successful now, and I watched like how much went into it, and I never wanted any handouts. But shout out to the Icy Girl for hearing Seesaw and loving it enough to get on the record because it's done some amazing things for me.
Friends supporting friends.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. Yeah.
Okay, so your current single, Big.
Yes.
We hear a lot of different hip-hop, R&B, trap influences in it.
Yeah,
What was the inspiration behind that?
So we wanted to come with something different than Seesaw, obviously. And, you know, sitting here talking to you about my story, a lot of people that don't know my story, that discover me musically, when they hear my story, the phrase is like, oh, she's not new to this, you know, she's been doing it. Right. So I pride myself on coming from a place of humility in everything that I do. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I continue to evolve. But I had to get on the record and kind of let people know, like, I've paid big dues to be here, and now that I'm making these big moves, like, y'all gonna hear me, y'all gonna feel me. Yeah, like, respectfully, like, I've been big. I use this hashtag been big for my rollout, and again, like, it still comes from a place of inspiration and, like I said, humility. It's like everybody that feels like they big is just like, go big, bet on yourself. Right. But then, you know, we have the nostalgic, you know, bed squeak in there, so it's just some, takes you back to that moment. It's a little sexy as well, you know, there's like some different bars that I drop in there that have references to some grown-up things, but overall the concept was just like, we big and we coming for everything big and we've been big, and if you don't know, you're gonna know real soon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how would you describe your style of music?
I describe my sound in 3 words: sweet but street. I have a sweet tone. A lot of people talk about my voice. Sometimes it's raspy, sometimes it's not, but it has this like sweet undertone to it. I'm a sweet girl. Most say I'm a sweet girl. You know, I have my sides, my personality switch ups, but when I get on the records, like I still come from a street place. I still may pop my, I don't know if we cussing on here or not, but I may come and have a different approach to things, but it always comes from like a sweet tone. So sweet but street, R&B, blend of R&B with hip hop, always gonna give you melodies. I may switch up and get a flow off and just show my versatility, but I don't claim rap. I'm not a rapper. I'm an artist. I do what I need to do on the record.
I heard the flow. I was like, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you've already had the Saweetie collaboration. So
yeah.
Who else would you like to collaborate?
Right now, I'm really a huge fan of Blast. He's a you know, poppin', yes. I guess not up and coming because I think he's big, but you know, I ask people as I'm traveling, like, you know who Blast is, and some people still don't know him. But Blast is a West Coast artist. Right. He's doing his thing out there, and I really connect with his story. You know, he was another underdog that was overlooked, that puts that in his music, and I feel like I'm the same. Like, I tell my story as being someone that, she's a dancer. You can't transition and be a musician and have people take it serious, but, you know, here I am, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So Blast is definitely one of my #1s. I think it's important to connect and collaborate with someone from my hometown. Mm-hmm. I reside in LA. I'm born and raised, you know, West Coast girl, so I think that would be dope to get the support of the city. But then, you know, I have this record Big that I would love to get someone on, and it has a southern feel to it, you know, maybe a Thug, a 21 Savage, some of my favorite, you know, southern artists. And then Doja Cat is like a, you know, an end-all be-all when you know, it's time to maybe put something out that she could fit on. I think that we would do some really dope stuff visually. She's an all-around artist, and I just really respect what she's done.
Yeah, so we're going to speak that.
Yeah, exactly. All of those. But no, I have a whole wish list of collaborations, of course. But yeah, those are like my focus right now.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to touring.
Okay.
As your work as a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Beyonce's Formation World Tour was like your first.
Yeah, my introduction. Thankfully, yeah.
That's amazing. You were also the youngest person ever to tour with her?
I was the youngest on the tour. I don't know about ever, but I was the youngest on that tour of 19 women. Yeah, and it was my first tour, so you know, even the other girls that maybe were new to working with her had the tour experience. So it was like Beyonce tour experience, which to those that don't know is like a whole different world. You're living out of your bags for months, you know, it's a lot being thrown at you. And Beyonce does stadiums, so most tours are in arenas, so it's like a different level. It's a whole different ballgame.
How did that even come about? Like, how do you pop out of high school and go on tour with Beyonce?
So, I popped out of high school and then I moved to LA, and like I said, I had 3 years of like struggle. You know, no one really like gave me a chance. But I was dropped by my dance agent, and I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want my parents to be like, okay, well, pack it up, come home, get a job. Like, I refused to do that. So I joined the scholarship program. I was like, you know what, maybe I just need to like dedicate myself. Like an athlete would go to like basketball camp or get with a coach or whatever. I was like, I need to just focus on my craft. So I did a scholarship program for 6 months, and my first audition out of the program, I was in a dance class, and this girl was like, you heard about the Beyonce audition? And of course I hadn't, because I didn't have representation. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. Like, I've been working my butt off. Like, I've worked for this moment right here, and I showed up to the audition, which is never recommended that you crash, but I was willing to bet on myself that I deserved to be on stage with her. Showed up, showed out. You know, I don't remember much because I was so in the moment, and I just left everything I had, and I just remember them being like, see you at callbacks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was 2 weeks of auditions, and then got the call from Jaquel Knight. It was like, pack your bags, you're going on tour. And it was just, you know, it was like just finally getting that one yes that made you like, okay, like I'm at least in the game now, you know.
All this hard work is paying off.
At least I can call my parents and be like, okay, like, yeah, like it's happening, you know. So it was a great feeling. But then also the like struggle that led up to it is something that I still experience in different ways, you know. So I go back to that and remember how I felt in those moments, and I'm like, something didn't come because something even better was supposed to come. So now, you know, as I transition with music, it's like those moments where you feel like nothing is working for you or nothing's going how it's supposed to go. I'm able to kind of revisit those moments in the beginning and be like, hey, it all worked out, you know? It was just testing character and work ethic and all that stuff.
Exactly. It's all a test. So what did you even learn from her, from being on tour with B?
Yeah, I think if I had to pick like you know, my top two to three things. One, her work ethic, which, I mean, it's kind of understood, right? She's very polished. Everything she does is like to a T. But her work ethic, for one, you don't expect her to be the first one there and the last one to leave, you know, it's Beyonce, you know. But, so her work ethic for sure. Her grace. She's so gracious with everything that she does, you know, and it's like, you would think someone of that caliber, you know, an icon like herself would be a little standoff, you know, just have these isms, and it was just very real and very safe, her energy. But yeah, I mean, I think those would be my top two, like work ethic and grace, for sure, yeah.
So you also toured with like other heavy hitters. You kind of touched on that in the interview, like Drake, Dua Lipa, Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
Across different genres, you know,
sure.
Like how does that prepare you as your own artist? Like,
yeah. So toured with Beyonce, toured with Drake, and then the in-betweens were just like, you know, music video or award show here and there. But to piggyback off what you're saying, just having the experience of being able to tap in with those different artists, I feel like it really prepared me for where I'm at now. You know, you're in these rooms where you're able to see what works for someone and what works for the next person, or what doesn't work, or how they run their rehearsals, or, you know, just kind of like be a fly on the wall. And I just always was trying to be like a sponge and absorb as much as I could. Sometimes it was like subconscious. I didn't even realize I was doing it until Chloe and Halle called me and wanted me to choreograph their video, and I'm like, I don't even, like, things just came very natural, you know, when I was getting thrown into these situations. And I think in those moments I realized how much I learned from my experience as a dancer, and how much like of an advantage I had now stepping into my own artistry. It's like I know so many things that the average new artist coming in the game has to like go through development, and it's like I kind of developed through my dance career, you know, so
with experience.
Yeah, and just everything that goes into it. I'm on the back end, so I'm watching it unfold, you know, so I really think it was just like a foreshadow of what was about to happen in my life.
Yes. So now let's talk about your Wifey movie.
Yeah, I love it.
What is that about?
Yeah, so I just coming in the game as a newbie, with a very female heavy industry right now, you know, females are running the game. I love it. But it was just important to me to have my own identity. I think being new, you know, it's going to be easy for people to be like, she reminds me of this person, or it's too much of this. And I know it's going to come, you know, everyone's going to have their opinions, but just being who I am truly and genuinely, like as a woman in my personal life, as a woman in my artistry, granted, you know, we jump into characters when it's time to perform, was important. And when I think of who that is, you know, it's charismatic, it's independent, it's bossy, it's confident. It's like the type of woman you want, not just for a night, but for a life, because of just what you bring to the table. And when I put a word on that, it was like wifey type, you know? And I think it's still fly, it's still for the culture enough to where people like can aspire to be like, I'm trying to be wifey, you know? It's just, it's just my thing. And it did come about from that Pretty Summer playlist that Saweetie put together. We had to come up with like our most likely to. And at the time, I was in a very vulnerable place in my life. That's when Seesaw came about. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be most likely to flip a broken heart to a bag. Like, you take what broke you and you turn it into something. And that was when the way too wifey thing was like, I'm way too wifey to deal with any of the BS, you know? And it just feels organic. And I'm big on, like, raw stuff.
I like it. Wifey, yes. Well, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Wish you much success in your career as an artist.
Thank you.
We're rooting for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.